These timelines, as I said, they run into hundreds and thousands of years.
Wow.
There's a very common belief that every Mahayuga the same things happen.
Okay.
That is not true. At least not as per the scriptures.
Okay.
So scriptures do not mention that every cycle the same things happen. Shri Ram was not in the current cycle, he was in the 24th cycle.
Okay.
So Vishwamitra, he was born a Kshatriya with the inherent tendencies of a Brahmin. And Parshurama, he was born a Brahmin, the son of a Brahmin, but with the tendency of a Kshatriya or a warrior.
Warrior, okay.
So, Ravan was defeated only by 3 people. One is Kartavirya Arjun, second is of course Ramji, and third is Vali.
Coming to the most favorite character again. I keep saying most because every character is, I think, gem. But somehow, I think I'm very glad and blessed to be with you because you wrote about 2 persons who are well known but in a different way. Like everybody knows Parashurama came to Rama and broke, he was very angry when the bow was broken.
Yeah.
He started shouting at him and then he went back and that is only Parashurama people know or other way.
Yeah.
He put an axe and killed thousands of
Yes.
kings. Why? Nobody knows.
Yes.
Probably something he don't know. What happened after that? No idea.
Yeah.
So they only know this character as these 2 instances.
Yes.
So I would like you to, since you have written a great book and I'm sure everybody should read that book multiple times. But if you can give us, what is this Parashurama all about? And Avatara, which you look at it.
Yes.
And I'll ask more questions on Parashurama because I'm very intrigued by a few things on him.
Sure.
But if you can give us a chronology of Parashurama again.
Right.
Like
So Pavanji, again, a lot of people don't know that Vishwamitra and Parshurama, they are related.
Ah,
So
okay.
that is the reason I picked up Parshurama for my second book.
Okay.
And they were born of the same boon.
Mhm.
There was a divine potion that was prepared by a rishi called Ruchik, and it was shared equally between 2 women who happened to exchange them,
Ah,
which resulted in exchanging the destinies of the children.
okay.
That is the premise,
Okay.
with which both of them are born.
Okay.
So Vishwamitra, he was born a Kshatriya with the inherent tendencies of a Brahmin, of a scholar.
Scholar.
And that is why he went on that pursuit. And Parshurama, he was born a Brahmin, the son of a Brahmin, but with the tendency of a Kshatriya or a warrior.
Warrior. Okay.
Again, a lot of people will go into the caste, but it's not about caste. We're talking only about the vocation or the work you're doing. So Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya because he was a king, he was a warrior. That's what Kshatriyas are supposed to do. And when he became a Brahma Rishi, that is because he started reading scriptures and he started propounding scriptures. So he became a Brahmin. Whereas the other opposite happened with Parshurama. So a lot of people know that he was a violent avatar. He killed, Kshatriyas 21 times and, wiped off their race from earth, etc., etc. Circumstances that led him to do it are the focus of my book. Where, everybody knows he did it, but why? There's a very simple story which was given, which I don't believe is the only reason why things happened. Because when you read the Puranas, you read there are multiple incidents
Right.
where these groups were in skirmish. There were fights happening between the Hayaya Yadavas, of which Kartavirya Arjun was the leader, even before him and even after him. So they were in loggerheads with the Brahmins of the region.
Okay.
Because of material reasons, primarily because of material gains. Brahmins had been given a lot of donation. There are stories like that, where by previous kings, and when the kings lost everything, they went to the Brahmins to ask for it. They refused that this was given to us as a dan, so we have to use it for this purpose, not for your warfare and all that. That led to a tussle again. So there are multiple stories.
Right.
There are stories where a species. There was a whole pogrom, of devastation that was meted out to a particular set of people. And, there's a rishi that was born out of it, who cursed that, all this race will perish and all that. So there's various stories that tell us that they were definitely, they were not on friendly terms.
Right. Understood.
So in the background of that, I had to recreate what was the political scenario of India.
Wow.
And what was the political landscape of India that time? What were the other dynasties that were ruling? We know there was, and this is because the next generation after Vishwamitra. So we know that Dushyant and Shakuntala would have been there, Maharaj Bharat would be born. Parshuram is growing up in that scenario where Harishchandra's father has gone to heaven.
Right.
Now Harishchandra is ruling.
Right.
So what would have been happening in Ayodhya at that time?
Wow.
What was happening in Kannauj, in Kanyakubj, where Vishwamitra was? What was happening in Mahishmati, where Kartavirya Arjun lived? So all these places, have kind of tied up in a narrative to show what was the reason, what led to him, and to top it all, there's another element in the picture that people miss in Parshuram's story. Kartavirya Arjun, who's the antagonist in Parshuram's story, he is one of the only 3 people who defeated Ravan.
Oh.
So the fact that Parshuram kills Kartavirya Arjun means that his defeat, Kartavirya's defeat of Ravan happened before.
Right.
So Ravan was already existing at that time when Parshurama was here. So what role could he have played? That is also an element I've explored in my book. Because he was definitely there. Multiple Purans mention that Kartavirya Arjun defeats Ravan. Even Valmiki Ramayana, the Uttarkand actually mentions the story. So Ravan was defeated only by 3 people. One is Kartavirya Arjun, second is of course Ramji, and third is Vali.
Vali, Vali, I recently came to know about Vali.
So only 3 people. So that was a fascination for me, that this was very unlike what I had written for Vishwamitra, where he was fighting his circumstances to choose what he wanted. He was braving all the everything that Indra had to throw in him, or the circumstances had to throw in him, or opportunities through which he let his powers go waste. But Parshuram, on the other hand, he was forced by the circumstances to go on a certain path, to avenge and to cleanse the world, basically, of the corrupt rulers. It's not about a caste. It's about the ruling class. Whoever was there, and because of the corruption, because of the tyranny, they had to be removed. And he also resulted in creating new kings. So there were new Kshatriyas that were created out of the other Varnas.
He created the kings.
He made new kings. He made new Brahmins. From, there's many stories in Maharashtra about, how a certain sect of Brahmins were created by Parshuram and all that. And the entire eastern coast of India is credited to Parshuram. People say Kerala, people in Goa say Goa was created, but no, it's the entire Konkan region, beyond the eastern Ghats, whatever land exists, that is credited to have been created by Parshurama.
So he was not only annihilating, but he was also creating the whole new system. So he actually rejuvenated the system totally. Completely. He shook up the foundations of the system. Excellent.
And he created new systems, so that from 19th Yuga, 19th cycle to 24th, when Shri Rama came. So for all this time, he was the in charge. He was handling things.
So he was the avatara for that long.
Yes. And he's still there. He's supposed to teach Kalki. So
he's the Chiranjeevi, one of the 7 Chiranjeevis,
he's one of the Chiranjeevis,
if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Coming back to Vishwamitra, if you can give me one thing which a person like me should learn, and one thing I should stop because this is how it is, if you can just give me.
So I think the biggest lesson from his life, one is perseverance. As you said, if you have a goal, you better work for it. By hook or by crook, whatever time it takes, however many man hours it takes to achieve that goal, you have to do it. That is the biggest thing that you can learn from him. And second is not the thing that you should not do, again, which he showed through various examples, is not to give into your baser instincts. Not to give into lust, not to give into desire, not to give into jealousy.
Jealousy.
So jealousy did trigger him on this path. But ultimately he had to forego of jealousy. Only then he could become a Brahma Rishi. So the jealousy element, that a lot of envy, a lot of people have. And we don't even realize it. And when we see someone doing good or doing well in life, somewhere in the back of the mind there's a voice, okay, I could have done better, or something to that effect, that, how could he do it, or how could she do it, Maybe they had different circumstances. Maybe they had better opportunities.
Yeah.
I could have done better if I had also the same opportunities. Things like that do come to our mind. So that envy you have to get out of your mind, and focus you have to get into your mind. I think that's what Vishwamitra's life teaches us.
Beautiful.
I mean, he's the only person except for Brahma who's credited with creating a world.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing, and he's a human.
Human, yeah.
So I mean, imagine what all we can achieve.
Great learning. So on that jealousy part, Gurudev also always talks about Brahma Viharas. Though I know it is not credited to Sanatan Dharma, which we would like to clarify here very clearly. It is from Sanatan Dharma Upanishads. So Mudita, where you are very happy for somebody else's success.
Right.
I think that is something which he was missing. I think that's a
Yes.
learning which you're giving. Thank you very much. I think that's about Vishwamitra. The Rama, which we always talk about, is it like multiple Ramas?
So there have been multiple Ramas.
Okay.
For sure, there have been multiple Krishnas. There have been multiple avatars.
Avatars.
Of the Lord. And in fact, there's a very fascinating story of a being who's shaped like a crow,
Mm-hmm.
and he's called Kak Bhushundi.
Okay.
So this particular being, even though he is in the shape of a bird, and that to a crow, he survived multiple pralayas, and he mentions, in a scripture called Yog Vashisht, and he's talking about, how many times he's seen Ramayana happen, and how many times he's seen the Mahabharat happen,
Okay.
Narsimha avatar happening thrice, and stuff like that. So we know that things sometimes repeat themselves.
Okay.
But there's a very common belief that every Mahayuga the same things happen.
Okay.
That is not true. At least not as per the scriptures.
Okay.
So scriptures do not mention that every cycle the same things happen.
Okay.
Sometimes, the things may repeat over eons.
Oh.
Because there would be a probability, right,
Right.
of the same similar circumstances leading to a similar kind of a tussle.
Right.
But so that's based on probability. So it will not happen in every single Mahayuga.
Okay.
So Mahabharat that we know is from the current Mahayuga, 28th Dwapar.
28.
Just before our Kalyug began.
Excellent.
And Aryabhatta, who's actually one of the greatest
Greatest sage,
scientists considered in India, mathematician, etc. So he gave the date of 3102 BC
Yes.
for Kalyug to begin.
Mm-hmm.
So just before that, till that was Dwapar Yuga.
Dwapar.
And Mahabharat is from this time period. So about 5,000. That's why we say it's about 5,000 years old. But the Ramayana is from Treta, which was the previous Yuga, but not the 28th.
Uh-huh.
It is from the 24th Mahayuga cycle.
Okay. So it's further lakhs of years. away.
Yes. Further
Nice.
back in time.
Okay.
And if you just put it in context, so Parshu-Raam Avatar, which was the previous incarnation before Shri Ram, he appeared in the 19th Mahayuga,
Okay.
in the 19th Treta.
But he's still Chiranjeevi?
He's still
Even now he'll be
yes,
there.
Yes, because he has a role to play in the life of Kalki,
Kalki, yeah.
which is the fourth avatar after him.
Right. Yeah.
So these timelines, as I said, they run into hundreds and thousands of years.
Wow.
And Shri Ram was not in the current cycle; he was in the 24th cycle.
Nice.
And similarly, there are dates given for all the avatars, all the major events that have happened in our scriptures.
So when we talk about avatars, we know Krishna Bhagwan is like very famous because he is very latest probably.
Yeah.
And Ramji to hum log pooch karte hain. Narsimha avatar is again very famous.
Yes.
Amongst the 10 avatars, if you look at it, these are the three major people actually very much worship.
Right.
We don't see Matsya, Kurma being, Vamana also very less.
Yes.
Parshurama has very less temples. I think I have not, I know that there are 2 temples as I know in India. But why is he not worshipped? Is this because any reason or is
Possibly because of the violence associated with him, and people don't understand. In Konkan area in Maharashtra, you do have a lot of temples of Parshurama. You do have temples at some other places in the country as well. In Arunachal, there's a Parshurama Kund where he's supposed to have washed his axe, and so in Himachal there's a temple. But primarily, yes, you would see Rama and Krishna being worshipped more rather than Parshurama. I feel it's probably because of violence, and people don't understand why he was so violent.
Correct.
So, and that was the whole purpose of writing the book, that everybody knows what he did, but why he did or why he had to do that, that is what I was exploring.
Beautiful. I think we need to tell people about the greatness of the Avatara.
Right.
If Rama is seen only as a person who left his wife, I think we wouldn't have been worshipping him so much.
Yes.
Right? How much ever true or whatever it is, I'm not even getting there. But even if you look at the character of Rama has been so well explained by Valmiki, probably we are missing a Valmiki to Parashurama.
Yes, very true, very true. We know Ayodhya, is the birthplace of Shri Rama, or Mathura for Krishna.
Correct.
But 90% people who don't know where was Parshu-Raam born. So,
I think Vyasa and Valmiki are the reasons why we have these two great itihasas.
That's true.
I think we are missing those Valmiki and Vyasas. I would say modern Valmiki Vyasas you are, because you are telling people.
We are nothing in front of them.
No, but for Kali Yuga, for this 2024, I would still say, because you are the persons who are at least giving the interest in these people. So I'm very blessed to have done podcast with many of the authors like you, who have come and started talking about these great people. I think it's a blessing, because I am talking to the modern Vyasas. That's what I would say. You might say, with your whole humility, we can say, no, you are not.
No, genuinely, we are nothing compared to what they have achieved. But yes, we are working in that direction. I think it's just about sharing whatever you know. I think only then the knowledge can spread.